Ever feel like saving penalties as a goalkeeper is all about luck? I used to think so too, but then I found a super simple trick that changed everything. After facing and analyzing more penalty kicks than I can count, I've figured out exactly what is working and what is not. In this video, I'll show you how you can outsmart any striker and save more penalties. And trust me, the last tip is so simple and so powerful that you'll wonder why you didn't think of it before. So stick around to not miss it. But before I share my secrets to saving more penalties, let's take a moment to understand what's really happening when we're facing a striker from the spot. We've all been there. Your team gives away a soft penalty and suddenly everyone's looking at you to make the save. Your heart's beating fast and the pressure is sky high. But wait a minute. Is that pressure really on you? The striker is standing just 11 meters away, facing a wide open goal right in front of them. They are the ones expected to score, not you. A football goal is roughly 18 square meters, but as a goalkeeper, you can only cover about 4 square meters of that. That leaves 80% of the goal wide open for the striker to aim at. I mean, seriously. How can there be any pressure on you? And the numbers don't lie. 4 out of 5 penalties usually end up in the back of the net. As goalkeepers, we're in a win-win situation. If we save it, fantastic, we're the heroes. And if we don't, well, no one expected us to anyways. But here's where it gets interesting. Just because the odds are stacked against us doesn't mean that we should give up without a fight. In fact, we should use this expectation to our advantage. Take Emi Martinez as an example. He's a genius at messing with the heads of the penalty takers. During the 2022 World Cup, he had strikers second-guessing themselves by dancing on the line, trash-talking, and sometimes even tossing the ball away. And was it unsportsmanlike? Maybe, but it worked. And do you remember Jens Lehmann at the 2006 World Cup? He pulled out a little piece of paper before each penalty. And did he actually use that information? Maybe, but that's not the point. The real genius was how it messed with the strikers' heads. Imagine you're about to take the biggest shot of your life and the keeper pulls out a cheat sheet with your name on it. That alone can make any striker doubt themselves. Now, I'm not saying that you need to pull out a cheat sheet or that you need to go full Martinez by throwing the ball away every time, but there are plenty of ways to throw off a striker before they shoot. And sometimes just taking a sip of water, adjusting your socks, or even tying your shoes is enough to mess with their heads. Even having a quick chat with one of your teammates about, well, nothing, or casually telling the striker you look a bit nervous today can really make them overthink their penalty. And now, I know what you might be thinking, but Christian, what if these mind games backfire and they score anyways? Well, that's the beauty of it. It doesn't matter. If they score, no one is going to remember your little tricks, but if you make the save, you'll be the genius that got inside the striker's head. So the next time you're facing a penalty, be calm, be confident. No one needs to see the nerves that you might be feeling inside. Remember, the striker is the one with everything to lose. You're the underdog, and everyone loves an underdog story. Okay, so we covered the mental sides of penalties. Now, let's actually get into the techniques that will help you save more penalties. And did you know that goalkeepers have less than half a second to react to a penalty kick? That's right. When the ball is coming at you at around 90 kilometers per hour, you have less than a blink of an eye to make that save. And you've probably heard some coaches say to look for the striker's plant foot or their hips to see where they're going to shoot. And sure, in theory, that makes perfect sense. Most strikers will point their plant foot towards their shot or open up their hips if they're planning to curl the ball. But the problem is, by the time you pick up on those signs, it's usually too late. So rather than waiting and trying to react to the shot, you have to make an educated guess, pick a side, and stick with it. Here's what I mean. Right-footed players typically shoot to their left, and left-footed players usually go to their right. It's not a guarantee at all, but it's a great starting point. And most players will be going for one of the bottom corners, which means that you should be diving at a low to mid height, because if the striker hits that top corner, there's a very slim chance of you saving the ball anyways. Many of them will overhit the ball, or they'll not hit it as well as they want to, and you'll be saving them anyways. The last thing you want is to be diving the right way and the ball slipping under you. And you can also learn a lot by watching the strikers run up. A narrow run up often means they'll be shooting across their body, while a wider one usually indicates they'll be aiming for the same side as their striking leg. If the run up is somewhere in between, it's much harder to read, because now they can shoot either way without having to adjust their body too much. The length and the speed of the run up can reveal a lot too. A short, slow run up usually means that they're trying to read you, or they're placing the ball more accurately. If the run up is longer and faster, they might slow down before the kick to see what you do, or they're gearing up to hit the ball with some serious power. You can of course also have a quick look at the players outside the box. If they're leaning more to one side, it might give you a good hint about where the striker likes to shoot. I mean, who knows the striker better than his own teammates, right? But of course, these are clues, not guarantees. They're little hints that could give you an advantage. And when it comes to penalties, every little edge matters. Okay, before I reveal the trick that helped me save 4 out of 8 penalties in a cup semi-final, let's take a trip back to one of the most unforgettable penalty shootouts in football history, the 2005 Champions League final. Liverpool found themselves down 3-0 at halftime, but they pulled off an amazing comeback, forcing the game into penalties. That night, their Polish goalkeeper Jerzy Dudek became a legend. You might remember Dudek bouncing around on the goal line, waving his arms, and doing what's now famously called the Dudek dance. Back then, goalkeepers had a bit more freedom during penalties than we do today. And Dudek took full advantage of this, stepping off his line repeatedly, putting out every trick in the book to throw the penalty taker off. And we must say it worked brilliantly. But times have changed, and so have the rules. These days, we have to make sure at least one part of the foot stays on the line when the ball is kicked. But don't worry, just because the Dudek dance isn't allowed anymore, there are still plenty of ways to throw off the striker's focus. And one trick you probably know is to fake the dive. Just as the striker is about to kick, lean or step to one side, then quickly dive the other way. This works especially well if the striker is watching you and trying to see what you're doing. Another tactic is to position yourself slightly off-center. By standing just a bit to one side, you make the opposite side of the goal look bigger. And if you do it discreetly enough, it might just encourage the striker into shooting where there's more space. And of course, big exaggerated movements can be really effective too. Bouncing on your toes, waving your arms, it makes you appear larger, and suddenly the goal looks a lot smaller. And don't underestimate what eye contact with a confident smile can do. It's a subtle way of saying, I'm onto you, and even if you haven't figured them out, it can really make them wonder if you have. At the end of the day, these small mind games is what it's all about. Even the tiniest of advantage can have a huge impact when you're trying to save penalties. Alright, so we've gone through a lot so far, and if you need a refresher, feel free to go back and watch those parts again. But I've saved the simplest and most effective trick for last. Now, I know what you're thinking. Kristian, if it's so simple, why didn't you tell us earlier? Well, that's a great question, and here's why. I wanted you to have all the other tools down first, because this one ties everything together perfectly. Now, let's step into the shoes of the striker for a moment. They're feeling nervous, their adrenaline is pumping, and their muscles are really tense. And between placing the ball on the spot and starting their run-up, they're already giving you a key piece of information. And there it is. Did you see it? At some point, whether it's right after setting the ball down while they're backing into position, or just before they begin their run-up, the striker will briefly glance at the spot where they plan to shoot. You see, our eyes are always moving, constantly checking out and taking in everything around us. But when the pressure is on, like in a penalty kick, our eyes can easily betray us. I know it sounds almost too easy to be true, but trust me, this technique has saved me more times than I can even remember. Some experienced penalty takers might know this trick and counter it by looking one way and shooting the other, or by staring at you the entire time. Just think of Ivan Toney, he's amazing at this. But if you combine this technique with everything else we've talked about, you'll be in a strong position to save more penalties. And knowing where the striker will shoot in penalties is obviously very important, but if you don't know how to dive, it will be very difficult for you to save any penalties. That's why you need to go and watch this video where I teach you the 4 core diving techniques every good goalkeeper needs to know. This is Kristian, signing off from Ground Glory. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in this video.